All right, folks, we are back here this week. We're bringing someone that I think you're going to love, right? I think it'd be really interesting in this one. Joining us from lovely Boston, we got Patrick Brusill. Thank you so much for joining us, Patrick. We love having practitioners here in the group for you guys to learn from. And Patrick has built a really interesting presence over TikTok the last, couple years, 18 months, and it's really taken off. And he's got a really unique, TikTok account. I'll be dropping the link in the comments below. You guys should give him a follow as a thank you for jumping here in the group and giving us a ton of value. But Patrick, let's get started. First things first, right? Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are? How did you get started in real estate? And how did you make the jump from being a real estate agent to also having a presence and a really effective presence on TikTok?
Sure. So thank you for having me. So going back to 2007, I walked across the stage at Berklee College of Music in Boston, and unbeknownst to me, until like a month later, I guess I was a half a credit short in like ensemble work from graduating, which doesn't really matter for musicians. I mean, I got the degree like 4 years later when I just told them, just give me a degree, and they gave it to you anyway. So if you're looking for a degree, just call Berklee. They'll send it to you.
They'll hook you up.
Yeah, no problem. I got the license that summer because a lot of people said, oh, you should do real estate. And there was this guy who, he did it for a summer and he made like $50,000 and you'd be great at it. And so I got the license. I didn't do anything with it. I was still playing music and, cleaning toilets at a music theater north of Boston, living in the mom's basement. Around December of that year, my mom's like, you got to get a real job. I'm like, what are you talking about? So for about 2 weeks, I sold Cutco knives. And then January 15th of 2008, I started in real estate. Thankfully, about 3 months later, I was able to move out of my parents' house.
There you go.
Yeah. I haven't moved back yet. I tend to think we're all maybe a few months away, depending on like how good or bad things go. But so I started with I would call them. So Boston has a really robust rental market that is, New York and Boston probably might be the only two places in the country that really have it like that. And
it's rare. It's rare. For most people, rentals are death, right? Oh, I gotta make any money. But East Coast, there's a few places. You're right. Absolutely right.
Totally. And so I did that. And while making connections with investors and, this book of business of, past tenants that, they'll turn into buyers and, champions of your business if you're handling it correctly. I did that for about 6 years. I switched over to my current brokerage, Keller Williams, in 2014. And I was a buyer agent under a team until 2019. I broke out and finally started doing my own thing. So it was like a 10-year sort of apprenticeship, if you will, because that old brokerage, you were a ball and chain to the database that they had. And then I have always been doing social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I've always been doing video in the sense that not afraid to go face the camera, do a story on Instagram, that sort of stuff. I personally probably around the middle of 2021, it just seemed like, okay, the short form video thing is clearly a thing. I didn't think TikTok was something where business could really occur. It seemed kind of dumb. I didn't, but there was eyeballs there. And I started to see real estate agents get decent followings. And I'm thinking, okay, might as well start an account. If I can get 5,000, followers, have some social credibility, that would be great. I actually hired a coach. I mean, the other thing was bonkers to me. Yeah, the other thing that was bonkers to me was in that space, and Instagram has it now too, there's a ton of like coaches for reels and that kind of stuff. But I was coming off a year where, just had way more money than time. I believed in coaching. I had a regular business coach. I talked with them about it. They were all, go for it because it was such a big source of business anyways in terms of connecting with clients. And so I think it was December of 2021. I kind of started with that coach, went through a program, and it took a while to even adjust what I was doing and what the coach was telling me to do. But that's really what got me into it. And I think it probably saved my 2022 because look, 2021, I didn't need a lead source.
You were happy. Everyone was happy.
Oh, I was the best real estate agent in the world. Like, you kidding me? And when this guy's telling me, no, you can get real business there, I'm like, buddy, I don't need real business. I just, help me get to a couple thousand followers. We'll be good.
And we're good. We're good.
Yeah, but that's really the story there. And from getting on there, it's been incredible, man. Like the ability to connect with people, and I think what you could write the best static ad with the best picture and the best priced property, and use ChatGPT or a Nobel laureate to write the copy for it. And you still have to receive the call from the lead and script them to working with you,
of course,
which absolutely can work. It works a lot of the time. But I'm getting these inquiries from people that, because they've seen me and how I talk about real estate and buying or selling, or just they like my personality. There's no, hey, this is why you should work with Patrick. From the moment they reach out, they just want to work with me.
I got you. So instead of, in real estate, people watching this, you know what we're talking about. You got to chase the business. You're always chasing the business. People are inquiring. There's another 18 agents that they're reaching out to them. You're another one of those. You got to try and stand out. You're saying that by putting yourself out there on TikTok, you are, let's be honest, you're out of that rat race. It's a rat race. Let's call it what it is, right? You're competing against other folks. In front of, to the consumer, there's zero differentiation in that sense, right? It's not easy, right? People know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But you're getting something. It sounds like a referral and recommendation lead. That's what it sounds like someone that they want to work with Patrick. Because
I would say it's even better than that, and here's why. Wow. So Gus, where are you located?
So I'm based out of Katy, Texas, but I live in Mexico most of the time. So I travel both times.
So your best friend in Katy, Texas is moving to Boston. Probably is never going to happen in this day and age, but you never know, right? So
who knows?
So and
it's too hot in Katy. I want to go back to the real winners.
You tell them, look, you got to go meet Patrick. He's incredible. He's going to handle you in Boston. He knows whatever you say, right? Great. So they're going to work with me, but they still don't know me. Yes, there's a level of trust because they trust you, but it's still going to take, 5 showings, 2 analysis of property, 10 text messages, 2 phone calls, writing up a couple offers until they finally go, all right,
you're our guy.
Yeah. Versus these people, they literally, so they get hooked in on whatever they get hooked in on, whether it's an actual piece of real estate content or me eating a piece of, chicken finger, whatever it is.
So I want to talk to you about that because that's really, I think you mix it up really, really well. So they come into the funnel somehow. They come into your content somehow.
Yep.
And they want to work with you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of them will come in not from real estate stuff. And sure, some of them do, because I have people that will relocate from other parts of the country. And I think the algorithm on TikTok is good enough that, for whatever reason, they start showing them Boston content pre them moving to Boston. Right. But yeah, they can go watch, 2,000 videos of me talking about real estate. I don't think anyone gets that far, but they'll see how
or lobster rolls. Yeah, why not?
Correct. Right? And they see how I think about buying, how I think about selling, and either they go, "Wow, that's cool, he's for me," or hey, that's good to know that about the market. I don't like this guy. I'm going to go work with someone else, which is totally fine. Like, right. Totally cool. I would rather it that way too, because look, the lead I'm getting from you from Katy, Texas could be, look, we're probably going to close them. That's going to be great. But if we actually don't drive personality wise, it's going to suck for the lead. It's going to suck for me. And
absolutely.
and grateful for the business, obviously, but it's still an upward battle there.
Yeah, 100%. So you're saying the people that are coming in from TikTok, which makes sense, right? They know who you are. They know your personality type, and they're like, I want to work with someone like that, right? So you're saying just a smoother transition. I didn't even thought about that. That when you get that referral recommendation, it's not always a done deal, and it's a cosign. They don't know you yet. They don't know you yet. They don't know if you're going to connect. They're not going to jive, especially when it's a big move like that. But
Right.
people coming from TikTok, they know the brand. They know they're coming to Patrick for Patrick. There's no cosign. It's directly with you, right? You're skipping the middleman and going directly to the person. And I hadn't even thought about it that way. It's powerful.
It's very powerful. And look, I think that Instagram is finally getting to the point where, through the reels, you can do that if you're doing it right. I just think what's interesting, the TikTok algorithm allows you to put out as much content as you can each day. If I put out, 10 pieces of content on Instagram, it'd be like an instant, in terms of followers.
Yeah.
So you can, and here's the other thing. This is what I think, everyone is on Facebook, Instagram. You still have 2.5 out of 5 adults on TikTok, and probably only 10% of agents are active on there. So
that seems generous, man. Seems very generous.
Yeah. And so you're still getting after a huge chunk of the population where no one else is playing. So
it's still a big opportunity. Even we're talking right now, right? September of 2023, we're recording this. It's still a big opportunity. Why? Because honestly, Facebook and Instagram are still good opportunities, and they've been around for a decade or 20, I forget, 15 years.
Absolutely.
And they're still, but everyone and their mom is on Facebook now, right? My dad is almost 80 years old, is active on Facebook. Like everyone's on Facebook now, but I think a lot TikTok, you can still call it like an up and coming platform. What about that can be good and bad, because I see a lot of people,
and it blows my mind though that look, I think I'm a very good agent. Won awards, do a lot of sales, but I do about 20 to 25 million in volume a year. If an agent who was doing 100 million, and there's plenty of those in Boston, decided to really start taking it seriously and get on the platform, they'd probably crush me in terms of just what they can do and showcase. But they're not there.
They're not there. They don't see it as an opportunity. I want to ask you about that, because I think you've heard it before. As I've talked to folks that are on the platform nowadays, even they had this kind of misconception or preconceived notion that it's a very young platform, skews young. When I've talked about it in my own group, you guys know who you are. You're mentioning, would you get on TikTok? Like only if I wanted to sell homes to teenagers, right? Or jobless college students, or just broke Generation Z people, maybe, right? So there's definitely a preconceived notion about the type of the audience, the demographic of the audience. So is there any truth to that? Has it ever shown up for you, or does it just not matter?
So I'll give you two examples of, I'll give you a couple examples. So I think that there is plenty of that on the platform. And look, we've probably got, 600 leads, right? And, are 80% of them people that are looking for a $2,000 2-bed rental, in the city that, probably doesn't exist? Sure. And at the same time, we just put under agreement 10 days ago, a condo that, $1,075,000 for a woman who is, she must be in her 60s. And this is the second transaction we've done with her. We actually sold her son's property for $900,000 last year. And another creator on the platform, he signed a buyer agency agreement. He's probably going to be purchasing somewhere between 2.5 to 3 mil in the next couple months. So we get sellers, we get buyers. Yeah, I would say my average price point tends to be about 700,000. I would say it probably even skews up on TikTok. We had a guy who sold his tech company and bought cash here for 1.4. And look, we've done $400,000, which is very low in our area, like distress sales from TikTok too. But
Wow.
on TikTok, you're going to get and see what you're interested in. So if there's a teenager that's interested in real estate and Boston food and Boston like things, sure, they'll see me, but they're probably not going to watch me that long. If you're interested in Boston and Boston real estate and that sort of stuff, you'll see me. When and if I scroll, which is really hardly ever, I don't ever see teenagers dancing because that's not stuff that I'm interested in. The algorithm doesn't serve me that.
I got you. So the algorithm, the tool is what you make of it. That's what we're saying, right? It probably, if you look at it as a demographic, probably does skew very, very young.
Sure.
Your content is shown to people that want to see your content. A period in the story, right? And if only, if the adult, the real estate purchasing audience, only a tenth of it is on TikTok, which is probably true compared to like Facebook.
Sure.
Who cares? You're not looking for 100% of it anyway, right? You're not going to capture 100% regardless, even if you're on Facebook.
Hey, look, if I could capture 100% of 2% of the audience, I'd be swimming in it. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, so you're saying that this kind of saved your business in 2022 because, in case people are under a rock, 2022 market shifted mid-year. Like everything changed. We went from 2.5% to 3% interest rates early in the year to kicking 7% by the end of 2022. We're back there, 7 to 8%, whatever it is right now. So it's a different world, right? Yep. We realized, we weren't that good, right? When interest rates were at 2.5, interest rates were at 2.5.
What are you saying?
People, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? It might have, maybe we weren't as good as we thought. Money was just really cheap, right? So maybe. But 2022 kicks around, and you saw your traditional lead sources, I guess, shift with the market, and TikTok came in blazing, it sounds like, right? Was able to account for like half your volume last year. I mean, tell us what that was like. You start producing content December of 21. When did you start getting like inquiries that turned into leads, that turned into, how long did it take?
Yep. So I would say that I had a shift in the type of content that I made around probably January of 2022. And I'll talk about that in a second. But once I started to do that, the first closing was end of February 2022. And I think,
wow.
Yeah, no,
that was fast.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. We went on to do 10 transactions just from TikTok, or maybe it was 11 in 2022 for 8.3 mil in volume, which, that was
real money.
I think it was 40% of our overall business in terms of volume. I mean, gigantic. Had that not happened, I mean, I don't know what I'd be. Sure, would have survived. It would have been fine, but would not be nearly as happy about my position.
Would have been hating life. Would have been hating life in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? So like a lot of real estate agents kind of survived, 2022. So it was a big help. It was a big change. But you said something interesting, right? You started in December. You made a shift in January, right? You made a shift before the shift, right? Before the actual shift happened. So tell us about that. What happened there?
I consider it that I stopped doing like trending content. I should probably do some more of that. But and the problem with trending content is a lot of the times there's sort of this satirical nature on it where there's a veil in front of you. You're not really talking. You're pointing to something on the screen or you're laughing at something. And look, the audience, the general public might even understand it. They might even laugh along with you. But most of the time, that type of content is for other agents who are really, they find it funny. And you're talking
industry jokes, inside jokes, laughing about ourselves kind of.
Correct. And you're talking about the buyer. I started talking to the buyer, to the seller. And that started to make all the difference in the world. And I just started to get outside into the world and filming places in Boston where it was just iconic scenes that anyone couldn't miss. Oh yeah, that's Boston. dropped a couple F-bombs in it, regarding the traffic and stuff.
Keeping
And
it real, keeping it real.
yeah, and the most Boston thing that it could be, and that type of stuff was really top of the funnel, where it's talking about the traffic, and you see, one of the bridges that Boston's known for, and how effing bad it is. That would get 500,000 views or whatever, and I wouldn't get any business from that, but that raises the level of the account. And then the next post or two posts later might be talking about, hey, look, if you're trying to buy a condo in East Boston, you have to know that, if you don't have a parking space between January and March, you probably can't park on this side of the street on these neighborhoods because of X, Y. And then people are going, oh, wow, there's like, Jesus, that guy knows his shit about that. And so those might only get 200 views. Well, of course, that's like the most niche thing ever. Like, but the people watching that are way further down the funnel. So
100%. So you change you stop talking about like generic real estate things, and you start talking about more specific things that might be interesting to a potential buyer, a potential seller, and then just talking about Boston, like as a location, as a destination, as a like an experience. Like, so it seemed like you were talking about that, right?
Big time. And I would say that one of the things that clicked, and this was the coach helping me too, was I would have described the account as, hey, here's this real estate guy, and yeah, I think he's from Boston, to, whoa, here's this Boston, Massachusetts account, and oh yeah, the guy does real estate. A much bigger thing is Boston and Massachusetts and that, and I would rather hitch myself to that and be, yeah, a real estate guy than, oh yeah, it's a real estate guy, and I think he's from Massachusetts. Like, who cares?
Got it. 100%. So you gotta change the focus, and you change, but that was a big shift. That was very, and then very quickly you got some people that were interested. Because if you start in December, make a little bit of a content shift in January, and you're closing your first deal a month later. Holy cow! Like, that's, and again, I don't want to knock Boston. It's not necessarily like a big relocation destination. It's not necessarily like a big, it's like, oh, everyone wants to go to Boston, nothing against it. It's just an established city. Like, it's not like an up and coming town, right? It's a very, very well established universities are there, businesses are there, tech scene is there, banking scene is there, like everything's already there, right? So you're getting people that are interested in the city. Do you see that TikTok attracts out-of-state people going to Boston, or is it local people that are just interested in learning more about the city?
It's definitely been both. We've closed 3 transactions from people relocating from out of state. And look, I don't know, like, I don't think there's like a method, at least to me, making specific content that would be geared at someone relocating. Sure, I think there's probably hooks that someone can say, being like, hey, are you relocating to Boston? Are you moving to Massachusetts for the first time? Here's the top 3 things you need to know. That's probably a pretty good hook that could maybe go after those people. They're gonna look, a certain percentage of them are gonna be on TikTok no matter what. And if there's 1,000 that are moving to Massachusetts, if 200 of them are on TikTok, sure, some of that content is going to be great to have in front of them. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And then you've got like a section of your account, which is like food review. I'll just call it that, right? Yeah. Lobsters and burgers and sandwiches. And, so I mean, did that just come out of people, did you try it out as an experimentation? Because it looks like it's a popular part of your account nowadays.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think that, so I had just been kind of going around filming B-roll of the city. Hey, did you know that this street, there was a fire in 1873 or whatever? And and that was quirky, offbeat stuff that definitely worked. But yeah, it was just easy to, hey, by the way, this is polarizing is good, right? And so, or at least it plays well on social media. So to be able to get in front of the camera and say, this is the best chicken Parmesan sandwich you're ever going to have, and it's in East Boston. Like, already, like, most people are like, what are you talking about? The best one's down the street here in Dorchester. Yeah. And then just to be like,
shots fired.
Yeah, totally. And I think at the same time, it's just showing that one, okay, local, introducing people. A lot of people have said, "Hey, I've learned about so many different places just from following you," which is great. And I'm out and about, really having, I got to eat when I'm when I'm doing real estate, so might as well do that, kind of a tax write off, I figure. So
It's
we
good.
might as well go for it. And again, it's top level funnel stuff where people would way rather scroll about pizza in Boston than the home buying process of condos in Massachusetts. So
Got it.
I'd rather pull them in with that.
Yeah, I love that. And also, you interact with the audience. I mean, you put people on blast, good comments, bad comments, people trying to flare. I thought that was hilarious. You engage with people, you got hate, newsflash. If you get on social media and you have a presence, at some point you're going to get some haters, right? And maybe some places more than others. East Coast, I'm from the West Coast. Just East Coast tends to be more comfortable with confrontation. Period. Again, we're crowded together. I don't know what it is, but you're not reflecting. You're not shying away from that. You're just going at it with people.
Yeah, and there's definitely different ways to handle it, and sometimes I'm just too busy and I ignore it, and there's other times where I'll just give them a thumbs up response. But this the whole controversy with Barstool and the pizza review that they flailed. I mean, look, it was local. The guy, it was in Somerville. I mean, I'm going there tomorrow, just to help a client. So it just made sense to go hard on that. And it plays well to look. I mean, a large portion of Massachusetts happens to be, politically leaning left, and this happens to be an issue that is now greater than pizza, and it's kind of split off into this left versus right thing, which is kind of insane, but here we are. So yeah, like that just made sense to go that way. And I think one of the things that's great about TikTok is being able to respond to comments, because not because you can just flame a commenter, but more because a lot of my best educational stuff is when I go face the camera and I'm responding to comments about
questions, comments.
Yeah, and I would say that out of, I think we're over 2,600 videos on there, 80% of them are just me replying to comments, talking with people about, yeah, if this is your experience, like, here's how I would handle it. And of course, you don't know all of the information of everyone. So one of the biggest sins of real estate agents is talking in absolutes. So I think that's, one thing that everyone's got to be careful of, because every situation is different. But, the responding in the comments, look, you're building your audience because you're engaging them on an even deeper level then. So I'm a huge proponent of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the sheer volume of content you've been able to produce. If you only started end of 2021, hasn't even been 2 full years yet. You got 2,600 videos. What's your process, Patrick? Like how do you churn out that, amount of content? Tell me, talk about that. What does that look like? That machine.
I wish I could say there was a real method to the madness. There isn't. I probably should do more batch creation.
No,
my
but
wife,
be real. How does it really come to you? Like, is it like you feel like it? You pop up the phone and go for it? What is it? What's your process?
I wake up pretty much every day. I mean, look, we got a lead generation, right? This is right now. It's not my number one lead source. It's still Sphere, and that and we have that, and we have a silo that does that. But I have to create the content for this. So I wake up every day thinking, all right, content creation, what are we doing? And so that's my business development. That's my number one thing. And so the camera's always there. It's always with me. I'm sort of always, hey, that's a good view of something. Great. Let's take a picture, and then we can put words on the screen of how the market's doing over it at some point. Always thinking, if I have a moment, hey, can I go answer a couple comments? And so it's really always ongoing, probably to the chagrin of my wife, but and I enjoy it too. Don't get me wrong. Like I really like it. I like the engagement. I like going back and forth with people. I like the educational aspect of it. Because there's a lot of things in real estate that, people don't know. It's funny. There was a comment just recently, and this gave me a good idea. The person was talking about how they're closing, I think, this week, and they're kind of nervous about their interest rate, but they're like, yeah, I guess we can always refinance. And I responded to that just about my own. Hey, I refinanced 6 times on my first property in like 2.5 years. And they commented back saying, yeah, I didn't even know how or what a refinance was, but having like looked into it, it seems, it's not that big a deal. And I'm thinking to myself, man, most people don't even understand
No clue
what a refinance is. So to make some content around that, and that's where when I talk to other agents and they're like, well, how do you get ideas for content? And I'm like, dude, the offer page of what you write every single day, like that first line of, hey, we're going to offer this amount of money and we're going to put this amount down if you accept it. Who came up with that amount? Why was it that amount? Can it be higher? Can it be lower? What's the advantage of being higher? What's the advantage of being lower? Who holds that money if it gets accepted? Like, can you get it back if you like? That can all be different pieces of content, because most people, they're lucky if they buy one property in their entire lifetime.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you. And I think, I'm at as a fellow content creator, right? I'm at my best when I'm just interacting with the audience, looking at the questions, looking at what they want, or in my day-to-day, looking at what problems I'm solving, and getting content ideas from that. I am not at my best from like, okay, what's a good idea for content today? So, I mean, I'm always way better when like, oh, this would be a great piece of content. But you have to like, I don't know if this is the same for you, Patrick. You have to get better at that. It was not easy at first. I was doing more of the what should I do for content and early on, until I realized, holy cow, it's everywhere. Like everything we do, everything that we're interacting with is a potential content idea. Because like you said, people have, it seems like normal stuff to us, because I've been an agent for a long time, but not everyone has any clue of what we do on a daily basis. I went down in the details of it.
Yeah. No, they have no, like, people hear the term home inspection, and we have it on a 40-unit condo building, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have a video of like the inspector in the electrical room with the 40 electric panels. Like, most people don't. Does he inspect all 40 of them? Right? That's the stuff that no one even knows. So like the document over, was it Gary V's, like the document don't create it, like that's
100%. Love it. I love it.
And I think if people in our line of business just got more hip to that, where it's like, oh, well, no one wants to hear about the offer, like, numbers. It's like, dude, your real estate agent friends don't want to hear about that. Are they your customers?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And who cares?
Yeah,
who cares if they want to hear about
it? Worry more about like making it interesting, right? Like it'd be a really dry. It can also be a really dry topic. You got to make it a little bit interesting. And a question for you, Patrick: Do you have like a particular, like a daily goal? Go a couple posts a day, a couple posts a week. I mean, how do you measure that, or is it just based on, do I have something interesting to say?
So in the back of my head, because 2022 the goal was 3 a day. So this year it's 5 a day. I don't measure it. I think if you take the 2,600 and divide it by 18 months, we're at like 4.8. So I guess we're getting there, but there's days where I don't post because it was just out there in the field with clients and just doing too much. I probably still could get a post in, but there's other days where, from 7 o'clock at night to 11, I'm just answering comments with videos. And so it's like, oh, I got 13 videos up that day. So the goal is to engage and create. And look, there's no way to do it every single day. You're going to miss days here and there. If you're going away, and you have a decent following, you should probably tell people you're going away. but you should also have stuff queued up that's already made and saved in your drafts that you can just click post, and probably still get 3 a day out there. And you should have systems on the back end that, you know, when a lead comes in, it goes somewhere, and it's not just sitting idle somewhere. That's someone's checking that, and you know, or at least they get an email that says, "Hey, we're on vacation. Thanks for the inquiry. We're going to get back to you on this date," whatever it is. So
yeah. 100%. No, I love that, and I love just being real. This is how it works. This is how it functions for you, Patrick. This has been a joy. This has been awesome. Thank you so much, man, for coming in here, telling us how it is. And if anyone wants to, you know, continue the conversation, you know, they have a referral for you over in Boston, or they want to learn more about what you're doing on TikTok, what's the best way to reach out and get in touch with you?
Honestly, probably email from this, in the sense that I'll be able to see it. And I can go, okay, I got to get back to that. Because if it's like a DM or something,
Gets lost in the ether, right?
It does. So pbrussel@kw.com is my and then I'll, when I see this up, I can write that out too. But yeah,
we'll drop it. Yeah, we'll drop a comment here when we post it. So Patrick, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. You're always welcome to come back. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gus.
All right.